Okay, you were telling me about your why.
Yeah, so the why for me is very clear. It's the unnecessary suffering that I see in the world. And it's not an arbitrary thing. Our greatest fear in life is about suffering and shame and being alone and dying alone. And so many things that we can do from a lifestyle perspective can negate that, can create a successful life, can create more connection with people and better connection with people, better connection with ourselves, greater quality of life, greater longevity, all of that with some very simple things. And that's why I call it the anatomy of success. It's broken down into very, very clear steps to get there.
Okay.
We were talking about the palliative care workers in one of the longest studies done, and why other people or what other people are looking for. So, the big thing with this is, and I get so animated with my wife when I talk about that. It's like, don't these people know that they're gonna flipping die? And it's like, Vicky is very patient with me, and I think that's such a big picture out there that people don't get it. So if we take one step back, with these palliative care workers, there are two things that people are looking for that they said that they should have done more in life. Like I said, one of them is, I should have smoked more cigarettes and I should have had more bagels. No one thinks that. No one goes like, you know what, I should have been at the office more. I should have had more pizza. No one thinks that. There are two things. Time with loved ones and experiences, meaningful experiences. Those are the only two things. And if we think about that, that's all we live for. And I mean, I'm not saying it's arbitrary or small. These are big, hairy, flippant things. So that's what we live for. So we need to be designing our life in that spirit, in that direction, so that we can make sure that we get to the end of our life, whether it's at 89 or 99, or like me, it's going to be 119, whatever it is, by some grace, that I can go like, oh my goodness me, I absolutely gave it my best with those two things in mind. And then with those two things, we've got to understand that there are lots of other things that feed into it, like financial security. It's very easy to say that, but if you can't put flippin' food on the table, you can't get to that self-actualization. So there is a hierarchy of needs. So then I talk about the 5 F's that I use to determine the value in life. And it does tie into this. So for me, faith, there's a big mystery that I don't know. So I need to be in practice with something, me. And people that have a relationship with the mystery, whatever you want to call it, have shown to have more meaningful lives. So have some faith. And then for me it's family and friends, another F, beautiful. But that's loved ones. That's one F. Okay. Fitness. You can't have experiences. I want to climb Kilimanjaro or Mount Kenya or whatever it is. You're not going to do it if you're unfit. So we talk about fitness. Okay? And fitness is another whole word. Fit is a congruency. And I've talked about this. If you have a look at the world heavyweight weightlifter, he doesn't look fit, but he's fit for lifting weights. He's not fit for running marathons. So fitness is a congruency. So it's a fit.
Okay.
Very interesting.
So fit for purpose.
Fit for purpose, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
What is your purpose? Do I want to run marathons? No. Do I want to play 36 holes of golf? Yes. Do I want to be able to kite surf? Do I want to be able to, if someone says to me, Brett, you won the lotto, we're going skiing in Verbia for 2 weeks. I want the body to be able to do things. Okay. Financial security. And then fun. So everything in my life is geared towards that. Then there's a couple of other F's that I use. One is freedom. So we do go a little bit spiritual with this, but those 5 F's then lead into the family and the loved ones and the experiences. And you can't get those 2 things right without getting all 5 of those right, in my views. And that's my values in terms of things that are valuable in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you break that down just from a health and a wellness perspective, fitness is right at, I'm not going to say one is more important than the other, but these are big, big things. If you're unfit, it affects your relationships, it affects your ability to function in the world as an asset, as a provider. They've shown that healthier people are more productive.
True.
So
is this, when you talk about your 5 F's, is that your personal values, or is that something that's integrated into your program?
So I get people to choose their own values.
Right.
I really, really work hard to not vomit my expectations on others.
Fair enough.
Even though I would love to go into a debate with someone, like someone come up with something more important for me. And there are times where financial security takes more of a backseat. Like if you won $250 million, your financial security is a box that's ticked. Make sure that you don't give it to an idiot. Then that sort of de-escalates. It's an oxymoron, but you know what I mean. It becomes less important. Then it's time with family. And then you can buy time and buy experiences that are of your value. So these change through life. Right now, my family, I very, very purposefully don't book things on weekends. I do my sport and my exercise during the week so that I can have time on the weekends for open time with family. So it's very structured like that. So I get people to choose their own values because they may be at different parts of their life.
And then defining success on their own terms. I've heard you talk about that. I think that's really important, rather than living life on your own terms according to your own goals, rather than what is being projected at you externally. Is that a key component of?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of the times people have these big hairy goals, but I've started focusing a lot more on success being a side effect. Fitness is a side effect of me doing the right things. I don't exercise to have a flat tummy. Even though, like, I do want a flat tummy and I want to be able to take my shirt off on the beach and look sexy. Don't get me wrong, I do want that. And there is ego there, but that's okay. I want to be fit to be able to do stuff. So I want my actions to be the focus. And that's why we talk about habit creator, not goals. Because goals are like a noun. Because now I have the body that I want. Does it mean I stop? No, I need to carry on with my habits that created this. So I want to encourage people to think of the verb and your identity even to be attached to a verb, and what you do and who you are becoming while you're doing what you do, while you're getting to your goal.
Tell me more about the identity attached to a verb. I know that's something we discussed yesterday, but obviously not.
So Jimmy Carr, the comedian, the Mad Oak,
yes,
he's a very, very intelligent man. And like if you listen to his podcast, to when Joe Rogan interviewed him, he's a clever oak.
Okay.
And he said, it's not about the journey even, life. Because everyone's like, life's not a destination, it's the journey. He says life isn't even the journey, it's who you become doing the hard things on the journey. That's what life is. It's who you become when you're doing. So if you think of a person who's doing hard things, if you look at Jocko Willink and you look at these guys that do these mean things, their belief in themselves, in the spirit of who they are, is what is developing there. So who you're becoming as a being, the belief in yourself and your self-esteem and those things start to shift. So if your identity is attached to an outcome, like let's say I'm a great chiropractor, and something happens and my license is taken away from me. My identity is shattered. I had a friend of mine who committed suicide because he had tax evasion, and his identity was going to get taken away as a financial person. So he committed suicide because his identity was attached to something as opposed to who he was. So I want my identity to be about how I'm showing up in the world. Kindness is a verb. Hard work it's a doing word. I had to really look deep to find out the difference between a noun and a verb. I think I'm an intelligent person, but I get confused by these simple things sometimes. So it's a doing word. It's who you are and who you need to be to do things. Like on Monday, I did my first ever 3-minute ice bath. Who did I need to be to do that? Yes, I'm going to get outcomes and productivity and all of whatever, but who do I need to be to believe in myself? Who do I need to be to go to gym 5 times a week and lift flipping heavy things and crap off?
It's really interesting because I've always come from point of view of having a big why and having a why to do those things. And as you know me on my personal journey, like I've lost my big why and have gone through quite a long period of having my identity completely shattered. Which I still haven't fully recovered from, but I'll get there. But it's a very radical shift for me to now kind of think, well, maybe I don't need another why. Maybe it is not the process or the journey. Maybe it is actually something as simple as focusing on the doing, focusing on the verb of who you need to be. To show up in the world. I don't know if I'm
Campbell talks about, when he talks about the hero's journey, it's about the hero, it's not about the journey. A hero's journey could be like getting over brain cancer or death of a loved one. The journeys are all different. So it's not the journey, it's who you become on overcoming your obstacles and who you are. It's about conquering that.
That's really interesting because I know in script writing, we had a question posed to us as part of the script writing course, which said, how do you define the protagonist of a script, of any film or theatre play or whatever? And none of us could really define that because, different people relate to different characters in different ways. But the definition of what defines a protagonist in a play is who changes the most from the beginning to the end of the play, who's had the biggest sort of emotional arc, emotional shift, and has had the biggest growth as a character. That is what defines, who is the protagonist. And that's such an interesting way of if you want to be the protagonist in your own life, then maybe it's a good thing to really focus on the growth and on the shift rather than the why.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to work my gut off for other people to be the protagonist in my life. I want to, and it's interesting, it's just a different way that it's said. I want to be, I'm the main person in this life. I want to be the protagonist. I want to be the person that changes the most. So that's another why. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. And I really believe, from a deeper perspective, there's some spiritual premises which I adhere to, and one of those is to expand on the consciousness of the world, learn new things. And the only way I can do that is by being the protagonist, so that I can have a really steep learning curve and the only way to do that is by doing a journey and doing the hardest things. Jordan Peterson says, pick up the heaviest weight you can and go. So it's so take the heaviest responsibility that you can do in life, that you can handle without breaking your capacity, breaking your spirit, and go forward. Something. Wow. Sit and meditate on that for a while.
think part of the journey and I think part of the wisdom in life is trying to figure out where that breaking point is, knowing when something is too heavy and when it isn't.
Well, it is. It's the same with the stress. So you can stress something like, ooh. So I do some bonsai work, and there are times where you bend a limb and you hear a creak. Like, okay, I'm not going to go further. This is about the right time to stop. And you may have damaged something that may not repair. But, in the same way, if you let that tree then do its thing, it'll repair. And it'll be in whatever state you want it. So the same with, there are times I've been in gym where I've hurt myself, where the intensity was too much. Like, okay, just be careful next time and allow your body to rest and heal and do it all the right ways. So in the same way, spiritually, we're pushing ourselves, psycho-emotion, doing more things. And it's not always through design. Life happens. Emotional stresses, anxiety, life happens. Earlier you were talking about stress management, and we'll talk about that now, but I'm not here for a haircut. I want to make a significant difference in the life. I'm not here for little small things. I'm here to play big. And it sounds very, very arrogant, but it's not just for me. I want to give me some I'll go, I'll take it. I'm here to help people. And it's not just for my little ego. It's to let's see if we can work together, and it's a community thing. So there's a deep why connected to that.
Sure. That's great. Very notable goal. God. Not a small one either, but then again, I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Brett. So.
So I wanted to ask, so you said you've got a free course available online right now, live from yesterday. That is obviously something without support, or if you want to get the accountability and the coaching and support aspect of it, what is the cost for your program?
So there is a little bit of accountability with the DIY course that we call Well. And that's the hour-long Q&A session that I have that's also available, that people can just go to the calendar. But when we have a look at the deep work that we do, the anatomy of success, we have a look at, so the anatomy of success is a year-long course where we go really, really deep into beliefs and values and the reason we make decisions, generically and specifically for each individual person. And that's why it has to be so individually guided. So that's $5,000, just a little bit less than $5,000 for a year, and we have a look at $10,000 for 2 years. There are various ways that we can do that from a monthly perspective. And it is a very specific program. We start off meeting weekly with myself, one-on-one with the clients and with the people that want to change, and then we slow it down and get them into a group to start working together.
So that's currently your opening rate. Obviously, if someone's watching this video in 5 years' time, this is 2025, and that is the current rate. What are the benefits of doing the full paid-up course rather than just the DIY? What are the benefits?
So the main benefits are there's a much deeper dive into the reasons why a specific person does things. So we have a look at individually driven as opposed to a generic sort of explanation as to how most people behave. Mm-hmm. We guide people on very specific journeys, develop a relationship with themselves, their past and where they've created beliefs, their future and who they want to be stepping forward, and their values with that. They're very, very specific questions that we ask for that are very difficult to do generically.
Sure. So more one-on-one, customized, very personalized.
And then there's deep accountability with that. If you check in with a person weekly, most people get their shit together, they get their act together and behave in a way. There's something called the Hawthorne effect, which is when you're watched, you behave differently.
Ah, yes.
So it has a big effect on that.
Okay.
And the sustainability of it is because we take such a long period of time and do things properly, we don't try and rush it. There's a deep sustainability with this, and we can create habits that can absolutely sustain a person forward. And all of the things that are behind a habit, beliefs about yourself, the emotional reasons why we do things, are all very clearly set. And you get like a workbook that you print out about all of these things. It's like a really deep emotional vision board that we have.
Oh, wow.
That's
Okay.
very, very cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds really exciting. So a lot of this, you said the DIY course was only live yesterday, so it's all quite new. Do you have any good success stories that you can share? What's the feedback been like so far?
Well, I tried it on a live event here in Eisner, and the people that did that, they still come to the Q&As and love the journey. They were all in like tears of joy, and this was a 2-day event. So there's that. Then the people that I've worked with internationally, Scotland, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, the people, I think there is somewhere where you can go and have a look at the testimonials. It's really lacquer to see people tell their own story. So lots of great success stories.
What would you say to someone who is hesitating, kind of, this resonates with them, but they're not sure if they can commit the time, they're not sure if they can commit the money? What is your sort of, counter argument to that?
Well, I don't want to be an argument. I'm always going to want them to make a decision from a really, really proactive and strong part of them. So a lot of the times there's a beautiful Chinese proverb: when is the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Right now. So the same thing with your health. Everyone knows, or your wellness, or your spiritual journey, or your treating yourself as an asset in this world. I mean, people aren't aware that they are their greatest asset. It's not the car, it's not their house. At the end of their life, once again, they're not going to go like, yep, I'm glad I had that blue BMW. It's going to be who I was and the relationships that I had and who I was and what I did.
Oh, I don't know. Some people really like the
I
blue
know.
BMW.
They can't take them with them. So I say to them, when is the best time to create yourself as the greatest asset? It would have been 20 years ago. I wish I'd been taught this 40 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was turning into a man. No one asked me what sort of a man I wanted to be, what my values were. Do I value integrity? Do I value kindness? No one asked me that. We just have these heroes in the world, and they're often people we don't know, movie stars, and sometimes even fictitious characters like Superman and Thor. So it's a beautiful journey. We do something called Boys to Men. So we take these boys on an initiation process. In the Western world, outside of the Jewish community, like
well, Zulu Xhosa, they have initiation ceremonies, but it's
and
not.
that's beautiful. It's becoming a man.
Yeah. It's very rare.
Yeah. So in the Western world, what the hell do people do that make them think, you know what? Now I belong. Now I'm a man. So we take boys through this and we ask them, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? How do you want to be in the world? And what do you need to do then in order to do these things? Who do you need to be in order to do these things so that you can be this?
Is this something separate?
It is something separate, but it's the same process. A lot of
something
men,
that you facilitate.
Yeah, a lot of men at the age of 50, they haven't been asked. Do you want to be a true provider and a protector in your family? No, I've never thought about that. It's not about a gun, it's about like, listen, I'm going to look after this family. So that's one of the things we look at. And I'm just trying to loop back to where we started.
We loop back with when, how, people saying.
Oh, the time factor.
The time.
So, like, if you're serious about your life, if you want to sort of stumble through life, then this isn't for you. But if you really want to make a difference in your life, and you want to take your life seriously, and you want to live a deeply meaningful life, then I'm going to say, like, get going in some way. Take one little step. Have you asked yourself what is valuable for you in life? And how you want to be remembered? What is your legacy? Then you can have a look at, oh my goodness me, this is such an opportunity for me to build myself as an asset. Oftentimes I ask people, I'm like, listen, if you said to yourself, how much confidence do you have percentage-wise in how you're providing for yourself in this world? Like, how confident are you that you're going to get to 100 years old and you're going to go like, yes, I lived an awesome life. If that score isn't 8 out of 10, then like I'm going to ask you, like, what are you doing here? And it's not a case of you're a useless person. I'm like let's go looking, let's go on a journey. So if I say to the parents, do you want to be the greatest asset in your life for your children? Absolutely. I'm like, well, you give yourself a 6 out of 10. Do you think your children want someone at a 9 out of 10? It's like, are you showing up in the best way that you can for yourself, for your family, and for those loved ones? And like you can hear, I get very passionate about this because I really think that people are playing small. They're playing small and they're just living lives. They're just surviving. And I'm here to take people on a journey where they can absolutely thrive. Thrive. And
that's brilliant. So that's actually the last question that I really have for you is, who do you think that can benefit the most from your programs, and like who for you would be the ideal client?
I'd like to say everybody in the world, but there's a very specific person that is interested in personal development. And if this sort of triggers a nerve or a curiosity, then I'm saying, hey, come and look, even check there's tons and tons, there's hours and hours of stuff on the free platform. Look at it, and if that triggers you, yes, then come journey. If you're excited, if you want adventure, and if you want life to be an adventure, oh my goodness me, we can have some fun. That's what I want. If that tickles your fancy, that's the person.
Beautiful.
Or anyone who wants to just expand their capacity, learn to get more out of life. Like, I want to devour life like a ravenous child. Like, I really want to be like, I want, like, yeah, give me more.
That is very you.
And then there are times where I'm like, I'm really tired, I think I need a nap. So, I mean, I'm not to say that it's all about...
Hey, ravenous children need naps, okay? There you go.
And also, there's so many people that think, it's about, like, just toughing on through. It's like, no, like, this is hard work. And there's sometimes we need to sit with ourselves in the chaos and go like, oh my goodness, this is difficult.
Yeah.
What do I do now?
And sometimes people are like onions that need to unravel, and you need to do a bit of...
And there's some crying that's involved as well.
True. Okay, that's brilliant. I mean, I think I've got a very clear understanding of what you're doing now, and it's already exciting. So I'm cool. Very excited to see where it goes. Empowering, but also developing the tools. Not only to survive, but to thrive.
Yeah.
So that is awesome. So that's very unique. It sounds incredibly unique and original. I'm looking forward to hearing all about that.
Cool.
Thank you, Brett. It's been a pleasure talking to you as always.
Thank you, Dom. It's really always good seeing you as well.
And thank you for everything that you have helped me with.
It's
and helping me along my journey as well.
An honor and a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for wanting to come and pick my brain.
Oh, best 2 hours of my life.